The proposed nuclear waste repository at Yucca Mountain appears to be dead due to federal budget cuts and a change in philosophy in President Obama's administration. I sat down recently with Clark County nuclear waste expert Irene Navis to get her take on these latest developments.
The latest news in a long string of news stories on Yucca that have been going on for a number of years is that the President of the United States has made known in his budget document that came out February 1st that he's zeroing out funding for Yucca, which means that the license application activities that are currently underway are to be terminated sometime during this calendar year of 2010. That's unusual in a couple of ways. One, it's directing something to happen before the fiscal year actually kicks in, that the budget is addressing, and it also speeds up what we knew was in the works in terms of switching gears on Yucca and moving in a different direction in terms of how to handle the nuclear waste issue.
So, I mean, is Yucca Mountain a dead project then?
We think it's the beginning of the end. There are a number of activities and steps that would have to take place should the license application be withdrawn in the next 30 days, as was announced by the Department of Energy last week. That kicks off a series of required elements that have to take place, because remember, the federal legislation, the Nuclear Waste Policy Act, is still in effect. So there are certain things that have to be followed there. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission actually gets to make the decision about whether and how the license application can be withdrawn. The Department of Energy is going to ask that the license application be withdrawn with prejudice, which means that should they want to come back in the future for this location or another location, they'd have to refile a new application. They couldn't just pick up where they left off. If the license application is withdrawn in some different way with a lesser requirement, they could always switch gears and come back to Yucca in the future, which is, of course, what our delegation has been fighting against, and all of us involved in this fight are advocating a complete termination so that the Department of Energy or the federal government doesn't have the opportunity to come back and resurrect this project in the future.
Is there anything else that could be used for Yucca as far as that hole in the mountain, the mountain itself, the equipment that's out there?
All kinds of things. You know, things are coming out from various candidates and from our congressional delegation. Senator Reed put out some suggestions earlier this week or end of last week about other alternative uses for Yucca, including some national security type uses, either as a protection facility for certain folks or for training.
Should we be breaking out the cake and the party hats and Yucca's over? And I mean, not to make light of it, but is that where we are,
We're
Irene?
not quite there yet. I wish I could say that we were, but we're not quite there just because of all the uncertainty. A budget document doesn't necessarily mean what the ultimate number that Congress will appropriate for funding for the next fiscal year. If they do anything to give direction to the Department of Energy that says, we want you to continue on the same track you're on, we want to provide you with funding, that is a complete contradiction to what the intent of the administration is, which is to zero out funding and to withdraw the application and consider Yucca not an alternative. So until somebody officially calls game over, if you will, through a permanent withdrawal of the application, as well as changes to the Nuclear Waste Policy Act that take the focus away from geologic disposal at Yucca, then we're still in the game.
And finally, Irene, I know yourself and your staff have done a great job as far as fighting this, as well as your public outreach and getting the message out there to new and longtime Clark County residents. I understand your outreach program has garnered some awards. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. We have received awards in the past from the International Association of Business Communicators for our various outreach activities. We're up for 3 more awards this year. Because of the different techniques we use, video and of course through Channel 4, and getting video and DVD out to the general public, as well as our website. We have a kids page that focuses on questions that school children might have. We're in the schools, we talk to students at CSN, We talk to community groups to keep them informed.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for all the work you've
Thanks.
done in the past and still in the future.
Thank you. We'll keep going at it until we get the word. Thank you.
If you're a community or civic group and would like more information on Yucca Mountain, call Eric Mueller at 455-5185. And for our younger audience, go online to www.clarkcountyjust4kids.com.